In November of 636 AD, on the plains of Qadisiyyah, in what is now Iraq, two empires collided. On one side, the Rashidun Caliphate. On the other, the Sassanid Empire of Persia. One of the ancient world's great superpowers, what happened over the next 4 days would end Persian rule in Mesopotamia forever. Neither side stumbled into this fight. The Muslims sought to carry Islam into Iraq and Persia, and, as was custom, they offered the Persians 3 choices: convert, pay the jizya tax, or face the sword. The Persians, for their part, intended to do more than defend. They meant to crush this invading force and march on Medina itself. After the death of Abu Bakr, the new caliph, Umar, made a pivotal choice, lifting the ban on tribes that had apostatized after the prophet's death, so their manpower could be folded back into the army. He gave command of 30,000 men to Sa'd bin Abi Waqas and sent them toward Iraq. Emperor Yazdegerd III answered in kind, placing Rostam Farrokhzad at the head of a force 3 to 4 times that size. For 3 months, the two armies simply watched each other, exchanging envoys instead of blows. In one of the most famous exchanges of the entire campaign, Yazdegerd tried to humiliate a Muslim envoy, Asim bin Amr, by having a basket of earth placed on his head as he left the court. Asim didn't flinch. He turned it around instantly, declaring that the Persians had just handed over their own land. Let's meet the men leading the Muslim side. Sa'd bin Abi Waqas held overall command, though illness, boils on his back, forced him to direct the battle from a nearby castle rather than the field itself. Khalid bin Urfuda served as his deputy on the ground, and waiting in reserve, ready to change the course of the battle, was Al-Qa'qa bin Amr, marching in from Syria. On the Persian side, Rostam Farrokhzad, the supreme commander, one of the empire's most experienced generals, Jalinus led the advanced guard, and behind them both stood Emperor Yazdegerd III himself, directing the war from his capital at Ctesiphon. The Day of Disorder. The battle opened with a shock. The Persians sent 33 war elephants directly at the Muslim lines. To men, and especially to horses who had never faced anything like them, it was terrifying. The Muslim cavalry panicked and scattered. But the Muslims adapted fast, realizing the elephants' one true weakness: their girths. Target the strap, topple the saddle and the driver, and the beast becomes just a frightened animal instead of a weapon. The Day of Succor. Day 2 brought relief. Literally. Al-Qa'qa arrived from Syria with reinforcements. But he brought something else too. An idea. His men dressed their camels in strange wooden frames and props, turning them into monstrous, unrecognizable shapes. It sounds almost theatrical, but it worked exactly as intended. The Persian horses, who'd never seen anything like it, bolted in fear. The Day of Chaos. On the 3rd day, the elephants came back. This time, the Muslims didn't just neutralize them. On Sa'd's direct order, they blinded the animals and severed their trunks with javelins, taking them permanently out of the fight. The battle didn't stop when the sun went down. It raged on through what's remembered as Layla ul Harir, the night of rumbling noises, as both exhausted armies kept fighting in the dark. The Day of Snarls, and then the 4th day. Nature itself seemed to choose a side. A violent sandstorm rose up and blew straight into the faces of the Persian army, blinding and disorienting them at the worst possible moment. In the chaos, a Muslim soldier named Hilal bin Ulafa cut down Rostam Farrokhzad, the Persian commander-in-chief. Word spread through the ranks in moments. The Persian army didn't just retreat, it collapsed. Let's step back and look at what each side actually brought to this fight, starting with Persia's signature weapon. Their war elephants were a genuine technological edge, moving fortresses that could shatter formations on sight alone. But they cut both ways. Once the Muslims learned how to fight them at close range, the elephants' greatest strength, their size, became a liability. Persia had two other systems worth knowing about. First, a kind of human telegraph, a chain of men with powerful voices, relaying news of the battle all the way back to the capital at Ctesiphon, faster than any rider could carry it. Second, something far grimmer. Infantry chained together in ranks, specifically so they couldn't retreat. It's a solution built entirely for holding a line. And it turned fatal the moment that line broke, and the men were pushed back into the river Atik, with nowhere to go. If Persia's edge was mass and machinery, the Muslim edge was movement. Their cavalry was lighter, faster, and simply more mobile than anything the Persians could field, and their stamina let them keep maneuvering long after a rigid static formation would have broken. In a battle this long, that mobility mattered as much as any weapon on the field. So, what did 4 days of fighting cost? Roughly 6,000 Muslims lost their lives. On the Persian side, the toll was far higher, around 40,000. This wasn't a narrow win. It was a defeat that shook Sassanid rule in Iraq to its very foundation. 3 things decided this battle in the Muslims' favor. The open desert behind them meant they always had somewhere to fall back to. Tribal cohesion kept morale high even in the worst moments of the fighting. And above all, their mobility let them adapt in real time to whatever the Persians threw at them. The Persian defeat wasn't just bad luck. It was structural. They committed to a straight frontal fight with no room to maneuver. Their backs were against the river Atik, cutting off any real retreat, and the very chains meant to guarantee discipline became a death trap the moment the line gave way. Qadisiyyah broke Sassanid power in Iraq for good. It opened a direct road to the Persian capital. Ctesiphon itself would fall within the year, in March of 637. This one battle set in motion the end of one of history's oldest empires, and it's why, nearly 14 centuries later, we still study these 4 days on the plains of Qadisiyyah. Thank you for tuning in to Time Capsule. Riz. Hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what historic battle we should